Let us look at this WAEC question that says, Figure 2 below shows the elevation and plan of a triangular laminate in first angle projection. Here we have that question A, draw the true shape of the laminate. Question B, measure and state the Roman figure 1 of question B, angle of inclination to the horizontal plane. Roman figure 2, true length of AC. And question C says, indicate on the drawing the Roman figure 1 auxiliary elevation and Roman figure 2 auxiliary plan. Alright, so here we are going to answer these questions with this information that we are given, this diagram. So let's look at the dimensions as we have here, that these views are given in first angle projection. It means that this is the front elevation and this is the plan. So the dimensions that we have for these two shapes, we have dimensions on the horizontal and we also have dimensions on the vertical. Let's talk about the dimensions on the horizontal for this point A1, B1, and C1. So from this point A1 here on the horizontal, we have the distance from here to be to point B1 here to be 28 millimeters, and distance from this point B1 to this line that goes to C1 on the horizontal is 25 millimeters. Then on the vertical side, so we have that for this point A1, so the distance of this point from this XY line is 25 millimeters, and distance of point B1 from the horizontal XY line is 15 millimeters. And then the distance of this point C1 from the XY line is 60 millimeters. That is for this particular shape that we have here. Then the horizontal ones also apply to the plan that we have here. So from here to here, this point for A and this point for B, their distance apart is still 28 millimeters, and 25 from here to here for both B and C. Then for the plan, distance of this point A from the XY line is 50 millimeters, and that of point B is 20 millimeters, and that of point C is 35 millimeters. So what we have to do first, as we have here, is to replicate what we see here before we answer the rest of the questions that we are given. So let's see how it goes. So what we have to do first is to draw the XY line. So draw the XY line by this, okay? So let us show it here that this is XY line. So here we have, this is point X, and here is point Y here. All right, so then for the distances that we have here, so which is common for both the front elevation and the plan. So we are going to mark a point here. So just let me mark a point here. And this point here, I'm going to call it A. So small letter A here, okay? And from this point A here, I will take a distance of 28 millimeters to this side. This is 28 millimeters here. So here I have this to be 28 millimeters, okay? Then, so this is point B. So I'll just put small letter B here, okay? Then we now have 25 millimeters from B to get the line that goes to C, 25 millimeters. This is 25 millimeters here. So I have this point to be point C as we have it here. All right, so then I'm going to draw a vertical line at this point A here. I will draw a vertical line. So I have this vertical line like this, and then coming to point B, I also have a vertical line. So from here down, okay. Then point C, I have a vertical line. So that vertical line has to go up, down, the addressed, okay. So and it comes down to this level. All right, so now let's take the vertical distances. So vertical distances for this A that we have here, so you have to take a measurement of 25 millimeters up. So you come to this line, to this point A here, take a measurement of 25 millimeters up. So this point is point A1. So this is point A1 here as shown to us in the diagram. Then for point B, so we have the distance from here to here to be 15 millimeters. So come to this point here and take a measurement of 15 millimeters up. This is 15. So this particular point is for B1. So we write B1 here. Then for C1, so the distance from here up is 60 millimeters. So come onto this line from this point C here and take a measurement of 60 millimeters up. This is 60 millimeters. So this point is point C1. So we have point C1 here. So now, so we are going to join these points together to get the front elevation of the triangular laminate. So join these 2 points together, okay? Then we join point B1 and C1 together. So we have this, okay? Then we now join point A1 and B1 together to get the front elevation of triangular laminate. So join this together like this, okay? So we have drawn this. Now, so let's come down and work on the plan, okay? So what we have to do first, let's locate this point A here. So its distance from this line as shown to us here is 50 millimeters. So on this line, we are going to take a measurement of 50 millimeters from this XY line down here. So we have 60 millimeters, 50 millimeters, it is 50 millimeters. Then from this point B, from this line is 20 millimeters. So we take 20 millimeters from this point B down. So this is 20 millimeters. And then, so let me just write here, this is point A here. So here we have this to be point A. And this is point B here. So here we have point B here. Then for C, we now have C to be 35 millimeters from the XY line. So we take 35 millimeters on this line. So from point C here, take 35 millimeters down. This is 35. So here we have this point to the point C as we have it here. All right, so we are going to join this point together. So we join AB together. So join AB together, join like this, okay? Then we join AC together. So this is AC here, okay? Then we join BC together. So this is BC. So here we have the plan of the triangular laminate. This is the front elevation and this is the plan as we are told that the views are given in first angle projection. All right, so now, having done this, so the next thing that we are going to do is to begin to answer the questions. So question A says that draw the true shape of the laminate. That is question A, draw the true shape of the laminate. So to draw the true shape of the laminate, I need you to follow me because I'm going to take my time to explain this very well so that you can be able to do it with ease. It's very simple. Even I taught a student today and the student was able to do it himself without my help, okay? So let's go. Now, what we are to do to draw the true shape of the triangular laminate is that we've come to this point A1 here on the front elevation. So draw a line from this point to touch this line B1, C1. So this point here, we are going to call it point D1. So we have this to be D1. And then from this point D1 here, you have to draw a vertical line. So draw a vertical line from this point D1, draw a vertical line to touch this line BC in the plan. So this point here, I'm going to call it point D. So this is point D here as we have it here. I hope you are following me. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to draw a line. We are going to draw a line from this point A here, passing through point D, and it goes in this direction. This is what I mean. So draw a line from point A, so passing through point D. So make sure you can see when you set your ruler like this. So make sure you can see point A and point B. Then draw the line in this direction. So line goes in this direction. All right. So having drawn this line from A through C, so we are going to draw a line at this point B and also at point C, and the lines will be parallel to this line AD. Okay. I said we are going to draw a line from point B and point C, and the lines will be parallel to this line. So how do we do that? So what we have to do, set your set square along this line AD. So set it like this, okay? And then so you just put the ruler under it. So I'll just make use of this as a ruler. So just set like this, okay? All right, so then let us shift it. So we slide it to point B. So we slide to point B like this. Then draw a line from B in this direction. And then so bring it down to point C, slide it to point C now. So here we have point C, okay? Then draw a line from point C in this direction. So it goes like this, okay? So we have this now. All right, so now, so let's look at the next thing to do. I hope you are following. So let's look at the next thing that we are to do. So the next thing that we are to do is that we are going to locate a point on any of this line. Okay, so just locate a point on any of them. So just let me take it like this. So a point at any distance from here. So just locate a point like this, okay, at any distance. Now, so the next thing that you are going to do is that we want to draw a line that will be perpendicular to these three lines. We want to draw a line that will be perpendicular to these three lines. So to draw a line that is perpendicular to this line, so what we have to do is that I make use of my protractor, okay? So make use of my protractor and setting this line at 90 degree on this line, okay? And then, okay, so I'll just set it. So I'll make sure that this center point is at this point, okay? So which is not compulsory. I can just set like this. So if I set like this, okay, just so if I set like this, so make sure the line on the 90 is on this line that comes out from A passing through D, okay? So now, so we are going to draw this line. So draw a line like this through the edge of the protractor. So we have it like this, okay? All right, so we have this one. So this line is at a right angle to each of this line if you look at it very well. And then this line will now be our x1, okay? So x1, y1. So we have this line. Now, so let's look at the next thing that we are going to do. Now, what we are to do now is that we are going to take the compass. So we take the compass, okay? So taking the compass like this. So we are going to put the pin of the compass here at this point A, and we take distance of this small letter A from A1. So what I mean is this: put the pin at this point A here, extend to A1 here, take this distance, okay, and raise it up like this, okay. Then put it at this line. This line is for A, so put it at this point here, and then make an arc here like this. So make an arc here. So here we have this point. Then next, so from this point B, extend to B1, okay, extend to B1 there, take this distance as I've done it here, then raise it up like this. So put it on this line that comes out from B, on this line x1, y1. So put it at this point and then make an arc here. So make an arc here. Then next, so we put the pin at this point C here, and then extend it to C1. So we are taking this distance C1. So take it like this. So bring it to this line that goes in this direction from point C. So put at this point here on this line, and then make an arc here like this, okay? Now, so having done this, the next thing that we are going to do, here, okay, so is that we are going to draw a line from this point, passing through this point, So draw a line, so and let it touch this line x1, y1. So this is what I mean. So set your ruler like this, okay. Then we draw a line. So we draw a line from here, okay. So it goes in this direction. So we have this, okay. Now, all right, so let's see the next thing that we are to do. So the next thing that we are to do is that we need to draw a perpendicular line to this line, okay? So at this point, we are going to draw a line that will be at a right angle to this line. And at this point also, we draw a line that will be at a right angle to this line. Also at this point, we draw a line that will be at a right angle to it. How can we do that? So just like the way we did the one that we did here. So I'll take my protractor and set the center at this point here, at this particular point that we have here, and then making sure this line on the protractor is on this line, okay. So I will set like this, okay. We have this now. All right, so then on this 90, so make a mark, okay. So what we have to do now is that, so draw a line from this point through this point here. So it goes like this. So this line is at a right angle to this line. Then we also need to draw for this point and also for this point. So I'll take my set square and set like this along this line, okay. Then I will support it with the ruler, then I will shift it to this point here, and then I will draw this line like this, and then I'll bring it to this point here, and also I will draw this line. So we have this now. All right, so each of this line is at a right angle to this line here. Now, Next thing that we are going to do is that, so we are going to draw a line around here that will be parallel to this line at any distance. So what I mean is this, so set the set square, so set the set square along this line, okay, and support it with the ruler on this side as I'm setting it here. So support it with the ruler on along this line, so just support it like this, and then shift the set square, so just take it up a little bit. This is okay for me, okay, at any distance as I said. So draw this line, so draw this line like this, okay. So this line, so we have this line, so this line will be this line, if you look at it, goes from B, or it comes out from B. So I'll call this point, I'll call it point B2, okay, this is B2. And for this one, okay, which is for A and D, I'll call this A2 and then D2, okay, D2. So we have this. Then for this one is for C, so this point I'll call it point C2. So this is C2 here. All right, so having done that, so the next thing that we are going to do is that, so you take your compass, okay, take your compass, then put the pin at A here and extend it to this point on this line X1, Y1. So you have to take this distance. So take this distance like this, okay. So here we have, take this distance. So we have this, okay, for A. So raise it up like this and bring it to this point. So for A, so make an arc here. So make an arc here. So I need to extend this line. I need to extend it. So I'll take it up a little bit. So we have this. Okay, so this point here is point A3. So write A3 here. So this is A3. Okay. All right, so then we now take the compass again. So put it at this point B and extend it to this point where this line X1, Y1 touches this line that comes out from B. So extend it here like this. Okay, we have this point for B. So raise it up like this and bring it to this point B2 here. Then make an arc here. Okay, so make an arc. So this point is point B2. So here we have what's already B3. So this is point B3. And then, so then we take the compass again, put it at this point C here, and extend it to where this line X1, Y1 touches this line, so which is this point. Take this distance, okay. Then raise it up, bring it to point C here. So this is point C2. So make an arc here, okay. So here we have this point to be point C3. So this is C3, okay. So now, so we are going to join this point together. So let's join A3, B3 together. Join A3, B3 together. So it goes like this. Okay, so we have this now. Then join B3, C3 together. So this is the point. So join this together. So here we have what we have this now. Okay. Then join A3, C3 together. So which goes like this. So we have what we have, this joined together. So here we have this joined together. So here is the true shape. As we are asked to draw the true shape, this is the true shape. So this is the true shape as we have it here. So true shape. Okay, so here we have true shape of the triangular laminate that we asked to construct. So this is the true shape of triangular laminate as we have it here. All right, so then so we are now asked, okay, so we have answered question A, and then we're asked to measure angle of inclination to the horizontal plane, angle of elevation, inclination, angle of inclination to the horizontal plane. So where is that angle of inclination to the horizontal plane? So we are talking about the angle between this line X1, Y1 and this line here, okay. So I'm going to draw an arc here. So I'll draw a small arc here like this. Okay, so this is the angle between this line X1, Y1 and this line is what we call angle of inclination to the horizontal plane. So with my protractor, I'm going to take this angle. So with the protractor, so I'll set the protractor, so setting it like this at this point, okay. So this is not the one I used, okay. So I'm going to, let's make use of this. So I will set the center point at this point here, this particular point, okay, where the two lines meet, okay. So I will set it, okay, this is the point, so where the two lines meet, they meet at this point here. So I will set it here. So set, and the line on the protractor on this line. So let's set it well. So I'm going to read the angle. So looking at the angle here, so this is 10, 20, 30, 40, okay. So this angle, okay, so this is 40, then I have 50. So this angle is around 59 degree. As you can see it here, this is 59 degree. So I'm going to write the angle. So our inclination, so inclination, so inclination, okay, so inclination to HP, so inclination to HP, so write it there, so is equal to, so we have 59 degree, so plus or minus 1 degree. So just let me check it again. So let me check again. Check again. So if I set it again here, so I want to confirm it. All right. So here we have it here. So this is what? This is 10, 20, 30, 40. Then we have what? We have 50 and this line. Okay. So it's around 59 degrees. So we have it like that. All right. So we have answered that question. So then we are now asked to measure and state the true length of AC. True length of AC, true length of AC. Let's take that measurement of the true length of AC. So this is we are talking about A3C3. So let's take the measurement. So if I set my protractor like this, so I'm having this line to be around 65, okay, or 66, okay, I have it to be 66 as I can see it here. So then I'm going to write it here. So A3, so A3, B3 or C3, so A3, C3, so A3, C3 here, so is 60. Okay, so I need to take it again. I think this is 65 or 66. So 66, so plus or minus 1. So that is what we have there for AC for the true shape. All right, so we also have other questions. So here we have that question C, indicate on the drawing the auxiliary elevation and auxiliary plan. Auxiliary elevation, when we talk about auxiliary elevation, this line, so this line is the auxiliary elevation. This line that we have here is the auxiliary elevation. So here we have this line to be the auxiliary. So auxiliary, okay, so auxiliary elevation. So we have it to be auxiliary elevation. So this is the line that we call, so auxiliary elevation. So elevation, okay, so we have this line. So this is the line I will call auxiliary elevation. Then auxiliary plan. So this shape itself is the auxiliary plan. So this particular shape that we call tree shape is also the auxiliary plan. So auxiliary plan. Okay, so this is it. All right, so we have answered the questions as we see it. As simple as I've done it here, all you have to do is to practice. So when you practice this, you become a master at this work. Just replicate it twice or 3 times, and then you get it done and you master it. Thank you, and God bless you.